crisis. The fire went through the aluminum foil and got the OSB. The chips were just going up in flames too quickly. I'm hoping the Beechwood is a nice smoky taste.
Today I'll start by showing you how I built a meat smoker using concrete blocks. First I do a practice run on a cheap $11 chicken, then I get into the big leagues with a 16-pound brisket for Thanksgiving.
So here's the fire chamber. Air will be able to go in there, and then air can go into the smoke chamber that way. This will be the smoke chamber. I made those little ledges so that that grate will sit on it like that. And I can't put too much weight there, but it should all just be in the middle, so it shouldn't be a problem. And then I found this piece of wood to go over the top here. That should keep all the smoke in. And all I need now is a piece to go on the top here so that the smoke gets ushered into the correct chamber. I'm gonna see what they have at Walmart, maybe put some pavers, maybe some sort of piece of metal. I consider it a trash can lid, but I think that would still let some of the smoke out. How's it going over here? Good. I'm just starting the fire. I'm gonna start it all with beech.
I was wondering what smelled good.
I'm gonna start it all with beech, and then later add
some chips
Are you
from the
excited?
apple wood. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I drilled extra holes for the thermometer because I hit the probe against the concrete when I dragged the board off. This is the side I really care about getting crispy, obviously. I'm not sure that's gonna happen. I've just heard that you cook it a little higher, 300, smoke it at 300. Should work. Pat it dry, put some oil on top. We'll see. Let's see how our fire's doing. All right, down to coals. I'm gonna scrape those coals together. Throw some chips on top that I got. Cover this back up before I start burning too much. Alright, hopefully pushes enough smoke into the smoke section. A lot of the smoke's coming out through the cracks and everything, but I mean there's definitely smoke getting in there. Alright, I think I found the trick here. It was to vent it a little bit, and now we're climbing in temperature pretty quick, up to 140 right now. It keeps kind of going down a little bit and then jumping back up. Anyway, I think now we complete the whole thing so the air can go into here and go up the top so it gets that flow going. So we got the heat going into there. I'm gonna keep monitoring it, try to get it a little higher, and then put the chicken on.
All right, over 200 there. I'm gonna take this off and pop the chicken. Oh. Well, that's not good. Got dirt all over my chicken. I think I'm gonna have to repeat. I'm gonna wash it off, have to repeat the patting down and spicing process, unfortunately. All right, put some wooden blocks there so that grate can't slide off again. This time I'm gonna put the chicken on, and then I'm gonna do the spicing for the skin side in place. Alright, now what I was trying to do last time was tuck some of these things under, right? So that they're not getting cooked too much too quick. I don't know if I'm gonna really... Let's try this again. This is a dry run. This is $11 chicken instead of the $80 brisket that I want to do next week, so glad I'm doing the dry run. Vented it a little more. I was afraid to vent it too much because I didn't want the smoke, too much of the heat to come out, but then when I vented it more smoke was coming out and the temperature started rising, so I think that's what was needed to start boosting that temperature up. We're up to 175 right now and it's climbing, and I put another log on because I need to get it hot, and so that's burning in there. And I'm also going to add, I'm going to throw some potatoes and some peppers in there. I ended up playing with the amount of vent space in order to figure out how to keep it hot enough. I was, like I said before, I was thinking that more vent space would mean more smoke was going out too quickly, so it wouldn't be as hot, but really you have to keep a certain amount of vent space in order for the airflow to keep going, and that's when the temperature really heats up and it stokes the fire underneath in the other chamber. So I've kept it around there, added a little bit more beechwood to the fire. I think this is going to end up mostly being a beechwood smoke, and I have a little bit of the chips to add, but the chips are just going up in flames too quickly, not smoldering. All right, so now we're down to 299. I started adding some sticks like this, and then I can just shove them in there without having to take this top off here. We have so much beech on this property that I'm hoping the beechwood is a nice smoky taste, because we can do all of our smoking with unlimited beech. 292 right now. That's actually looking pretty nice. I don't know if you can see that, but that's looking like nice and golden on the top there. I'm so far pretty happy. Oh, I almost dropped you in the fire. Down or up? Maybe I'll do a couple of both. Experiment. just enough room. Getting a ton of smoke in my eyes. All right, let's see about what the chicken's at. All right, we're around 118 right now. Make sure this isn't burning. Looks fine. With the sticks, I figured I could just kind of keep feeding them as they burn up a little bit, which seems to be working. Sun's starting to set. It's been in there for a little over 2 hours. At this point, I'm struggling to, well, actually, I'm doing a decent job now, keeping it right around 300. For a while, I went up above 400 by accident, brought it back down, wild swing back down to 250, and then I've been, you know, up to 325, down to 275. I don't know how much it matters exactly what it's gonna be, but I've been experimenting at least just to know how easy it is to keep it around 300. I think I've finally got it. And what I've been doing is basically keeping that the same. I tried adjusting it a few times when I had to make big adjustments. I would close this wood vent or open it further. I think that's a pretty good spot that I've found though. I also took this off if I wanted to rapidly drop the temperature in there. But I've also been playing with how far to stick these sticks into there in order to have a bigger or a smaller fire to keep that temperature more stable. So we'll be eating after dark because it's the shortest time of year. As soon as the sun disappears, it gets so cold and I'm just like the fire. I have to put on my jackets and put on my hats and try to keep it. I just got hot gathering extra wood. Take this off. Ooh. All right, let's see what temperature we're looking at. Yeah, it's close, but it's not quite there yet. So I gotta put it back on, bring it back up. All right, we have a crisis. It's not really a crisis, but this board, the fire went through the tin foil. I call it tin foil, aluminum foil, and got the OSB, so I moved it away. Obviously, I didn't want any of the OSB smoke going in there. It shouldn't, because it's still on top and it's burning on top, and so all the anything that was there from the OSB would have been coming out the top. But obviously, I wanted to get that away just in case. So now I need to put that out, and next time I'm gonna have to think of something else to put there instead of wood covered in aluminum foil. That's good. It's tender and juicy. Show you the final. What this looks like. A little overcooked on some of them, but we'll see how they taste.
Now for the real deal, smoking 16 pounds of brisket for Thanksgiving.
Just check the inside, moved them a little bit closer to the smoke. We're running about 120, 3 or 4 hours in, about 120 to 140 in some spots. Looking pretty good though, I think overall. I decided to check the temperature before I get the fire going back again down here. I had dropped a little bit too low, down to 140. We are slowly rising, and I could see a fire starting in there before, but I'm gonna pull it back a little bit and see. Okay, so that's actually decent, and it's going pretty well now. It's definitely gonna continue catching. Went up to 255, now down to 220, and seems to be holding around there. Oh, see, going up again, so that's a decent range. I'm just not gonna play with it for now. Add wood in a little bit. One 32. Uh-oh. That's higher. Well, hopefully this helps them go faster. All right, I'm getting high 140s there, into over 150 there. Already up to 140 without even putting the top on. It's getting a little beat up. This is surviving. Pretty slow. Looks like we're hanging out around 222, which is fine with me. It's been on there since 9 a.m. It's now 4:15, so 7 hours and 15 minutes, which I think I'm supposed to be smoking this for at least 8 hours because of 16 pounds cut in half. So we'll see how it does.
In the end, the Beechwood was a really nice smoky taste. I'd say pretty mild, but definitely there. The vegetables I really enjoyed too. I liked that the peppers were somewhat charred and the potatoes just melted in your mouth. If you have any tips, please put them in the comments. This was my first time not just using the concrete smoker, but smoking any meats at all, and I'm definitely still learning. I hope you enjoyed smoking some meat with me. Thanks for watching.